What's going on, guys? Welcome back for another moto vlog. I'm rocking the new rear tire on the back, and I can honestly say the bike feels amazing. The old tire I was running was beginning to get kind of a flatter profile to it, and now that I have a new rear tire with a good round profile on it, the bike handles like different. It's pretty crazy. The bike almost feels lighter and definitely more nimble with that rounder profile of a tire on the rear. It just doesn't take as much force to throw it back and forth. I'm really liking it. Although I'm pretty excited about my new tires and I kind of want to push the bike with them, one thing you got to remember about when you get new tires is you have to break them in. They can actually be kind of slippery off the shelf, so you never want to go, balls to the wall on a brand new tire. Definitely want to put it through a few heat cycles, break it in a bit. And that's kind of what I wanted to do today, is just come out and break in the new tires. But I did want to talk to you guys about something that a lot of motorcyclists, especially new riders, struggle with, and that's cornering. And I'll be honest with you guys, I might be the worst person to give advice on this, and I might be the best. Depends on how you look at it. But I actually crashed this motorcycle 3 weeks after I bought it because I did not corner properly. So take that as you will. Since then, I've definitely made improvements and I've gotten used to the bike. Haven't crashed it since. And I'll definitely talk about why I crashed later in the video. Anyways, today I wanted to cover the 4 main things that I think go into cornering a motorcycle properly and successfully. So first off, I'm going to list the 4 main points for you guys, and then I'm going to go into detail of each of those 4. The 4 main things that go into cornering your motorcycle are initiating your turn, body position, throttle control, and what you're doing with your head and eyes. So first off, let's start talking about how you initiate a turn on your motorcycle. A lot of people think, well, if I'm going to go left, I'm just going to turn my wheel left. Well, that's actually wrong. To a lot of people, steering on a motorcycle is rather counterintuitive, especially for people that don't ride motorcycles. And that's because of a thing called countersteering, and I'll try to explain that a little bit for you guys. But the real reason behind countersteering is just physics, and we'll leave it at that for now. But let me go ahead and just briefly explain countersteering for you guys. If I want to turn my motorcycle to the left, I'm actually going to turn the wheel to the right. And I'll try to demonstrate that for you guys quick here. If I'm turning left here, I'm actually turning my wheel right, and it makes my bike turn left. So for this right-hand turn, I'm actually going to push on my right bar, which is effectively turning my front wheel to the left, and it initiates a right turn. Left turn, we're going to push the wheel right, and it goes to the left. It's pretty counterintuitive, but once you get the hang of it, it feels totally natural. And countersteering is really the proper way to initiate a turn on a motorcycle. It's not where you lean or anything like that. That obviously goes into play, and I'll talk about that later. But to initiate a turn, countersteering is definitely a must. Woo! That is beautiful. The second thing I want to address about cornering a motorcycle is body position. Maintaining a turn is as equally important as initiating it. If you guys ever buy a Daytona, one thing you got to know is the bike sounds amazing after like 8K RPMs. It just screams. Before 8K, don't get me wrong, it sounds amazing too. Your body position has a lot to say of how your motorcycle acts in a turn. Slow down, okay. Going 40 miles an hour, I think I'm okay. Oh, Tesla Model X. That guy's literally always on this road when I'm riding it. I don't know, we must have something in common. Or like a bromance going on. He's probably like, oh, I wonder if that Triumph Daytona's out here. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if that Model X is out here. The correct approach when it comes to body position is just put your shoulder into the turn. Lean into the turn. You don't want to be on top of the bike and kind of push it down like this, because that is just not natural. The bike is not going to behave correctly. You're just not going to get the handling performance out of it that you could if you just leaned into the turn. And I gotta say this too, don't lean too far into the turn as well. You don't want to be one of those guys that's like hanging off the bike. That's ridiculous. Just put your body into the turn. There's no need for excessive leaning off the bike. I mean, that doesn't really do anything. That causes a hazard more than anything. Obviously, if you're a MotoGP racer or like a professional racer, that does not apply to you. Lean off the bike all you want. Hey, that Ducati's gone. The Ducati is no longer at the Ford dealership. Maybe somebody bought it. Maybe they put it inside. I don't know. You guys can see how I'm leaning into the turn. I'm throwing my weight around. That really helps the bike stabilize more and fall into the turn easier. And the third topic I want to cover is throttle control. I want to start this one off by saying it's very important for you to slow down enough before you make a turn. If you don't slow down enough, it's impossible to have any throttle control. When turning, you're always going to want to gradually accelerate through a turn. So you saw I just slowed down there, and I'm just gradually accelerating through my turn. Like so. There's really two things with respect to the throttle you want to avoid when you're turning your bike. The first one being is just let off the throttle altogether and be decelerating through a turn. That makes it really hard. The bike does not handle as well. It just feels completely off. The second thing I would say is worse than the first, and that's chop the throttle. Be on the throttle, get scared, go off, on, off, on. Don't ever chop the throttle like that. If you chop the throttle like that in a turn, there's a good chance that your rear wheel could lose traction and you might low side your bike. And the fourth and final thing I want to talk about when it comes to turning your motorcycle is where your head and eyes are pointed. This is really the main rule when it comes to turning, and I probably should have put it first rather than the last one. But where your eyes are looking and where your head is pointed, that's where your motorcycle is going to go. And that's really true. It's almost like a video game. If you're looking at something or your eyes are headed in a general direction, your motorcycle is going to move in that general direction. It's just going to control your hands and make whatever you're on move in that way. The general rule is just always look through your turns, scan the roadway ahead of you, and scan the curve as your bike moves forward. And of course, don't just look with your eyes, don't keep your head straight. You're going to want to tilt your head and look through the turn with your whole body. That goes along with your body position, and it'll feel natural when you do it. Caught some air. Oh! Ouch. So now that I've covered turning and kind of how, crap. Jesus Christ. Buddy? So now that we've talked about cornering on a motorcycle pretty in depth, let's talk about a few errors, a few big rider errors that people make, myself included, that cause crashes. The first big rider error, and this is the one I made, and that's what caused me to crash when I first got this motorcycle, is I did not slow down enough before my turn. This happens to a lot of people and it causes a lot of crashes. And what people will do, and myself included, is they will either, one, brake in the turn, which, I mean, we already talked about why that's a bad thing. And the number two thing is they will stand the bike up and try to brake in time. And that's what I did. And as you can guess, I did not have enough time to brake and come to a stop. Luckily for me, there was just a field on the other side, which is, I'm actually really lucky because out in the hills there's lots of rocks and just, usually there's not a lot of fields, but I got really lucky on this turn and it was just kind of a field like that, no rocks or anything, so I came out pretty good shape. The last speed I saw on my speedometer before I went off the road was like 52, 53 miles per hour, something like that. So you can take 10 miles per hour off that, and that's likely what I hit the field going. The bike honestly came out unscathed. I came out with like a jammed pinky, was wearing all my gear. I was just really shooken up. So all in all, it came out pretty good. But slowing down before a turn is honestly one of the most important things you can do, as well as with that throttle control. Never try to stand the bike up and brake like I did, or you know, brake in a turn. Honestly, I probably could have made the turn if I just committed, and that's the advice I'm going to give to you guys is if you're coming in too hot to a turn, you guys just got to commit and turn harder and lean farther. The second biggest mistake people will do, and what causes probably equally if not more crashes, is target fixation. And we kind of already touched on that a little bit, but that goes with looking through your turn. Never focus on one thing. Don't ever look at that mailbox. Your bike's gonna go into the mailbox. That's just how it works. Always look through your turn. Never focus on any one specific thing. That's probably the best advice I can give you guys for target fixation. So that is going to conclude today's video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, you guys want to challenge me on something, say I said something wrong, definitely leave it in the comments below. And if you guys liked the video, found it helpful, don't forget to like it and subscribe below. And I'll see you guys next Saturday.